Hello everybody, my name is Prince Boss, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, we entered the City of London for the first time, and we all automatically get a case by Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. We're here to save Magnus McGilded, and we've already done our first new feature of the game called Summation Examination, which means we basically just change the minds of the jurors by pitting them against each other. Now, what happens today? I have no idea, but I gotta remember the voices I did for characters because last night was brutal. Let's get into the game in 3, 2, 1. Taking a good sip of my water. So, Lord Van Zykes, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Stirring up his wine again, huh? Alright. Bit rude. Let's take a sip. Oh, he's angry. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hollowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zykes. Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Oh. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace this courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Oh, he took off the cape. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Alright. Van Zykes, you're going down! Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the end. The coachman. I believe it's better. Oh, yes, sir. My lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger in your omnibus, you'll be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Neil Doy. Neil, Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. Alright. Witness testimony. I carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it. But, Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence to the boss. He fiddled us. On the fare he did. And then I saw it. Blood curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing the man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes. Yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. He's wearing the same damn gloves. I just noticed. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cossonage.
Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fares 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare?
It's cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
I'm sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on our entire guild.
If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently.
No, that figures.
Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense. Your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. All right. But what?
Hold it!
So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right?
It's impossible to make the last run of the day. I was so cold. All I could do was stop myself from passing out.
I'm getting chillblains just listening to you. I don't even know what that word means.
It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for keeping evening the bus run. I'm not a dedicated coachman to deserve an extra penny per passenger.
You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night. Then we would have had another suspect. Van Sykes thinks maybe there might have been.
I for once do I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
Hold it!
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4?
Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir.
And I just told you that I did.
A flat fare, 5 pence across the board.
It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead, and buried. I'd been happier if it had existed in the first place. Then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight, you mean the murderer, I presume?
Yes, sir.
A loathsome sight. No one should have witnessed the horror of the eyes of a man the moment his life was taken.
Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed.
Good gracious! Really?
We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant.
I heard the banker gent next to me like a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I say a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating.
Yikes. I tell you, I saw the go to stabbing that man, everything I said before stands.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him.
That's what I said, isn't it?
It was bothering me before, that was. This was. Just for a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question.
Anyway, there was only 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there?
There's been much talk of a 5th passenger, but yet, 0 evidence.
Then what are we wasting all this time for, huh? It's black and white. The man's guilty.
Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I want to work out what it was. Stabbed him, yes he did. I think so, yes. I think so. Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding a knife in an ice-pick grip. I suppose. I might have, yes. Put the cart before the horse, maybe.
What is this?
Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seat below the roof deck. Oh, I expected that was me, sir. Then when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking out from up his midriff. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle was a famous man, yes.
So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all.
I really thought I did, but when I go over it again in my head, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment the stabbing, did I?
Excuse me.
You have something to say? You have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. I didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? No chance. Some days are like that. No. Well, it was a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of the omnibus, that is.
Peeping. I'm a respectable city banker. I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember as clear as a Ballarat today. It's a grim scene. I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hard on the color like that, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. You think I forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man?
Butcher? Butcher? Would it be the gloves? They don't look blood-soaked.
Objection.
Blood-soaked hands?
Well, I admit that soap might be laying it on a little thick. But anyway, there was definitely blood all over. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question.
Oh, yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, It's only on the right-hand glove.
Eating your cane?
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent.
Yeah. But, no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar then?
Yeah.
That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said, yeah, it was both hands.
Yeah.
Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Yeah.
Objection!
Oh. It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Yeah. Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snap. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate.
He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case?
Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely.
Something to show this man has compelling reason to lie in his testimony. There's evidence. My lord.
Yes, counsel.
The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in his testimony.
Yeah. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged discrepancy of the court.
He's a debtor!
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owed money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of the debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No. Well, it's barely worth being called a debt.
According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say?
Well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist?
Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never saw, in fact, in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Oh, here we go.
Order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you, or did you not, say the precise moment in which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony.
Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on Mr. McGillicuddy's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained.
Yeah, so you keep saying.
Mr. First?
I wondered if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens.
Seeing what?
The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that I was on both of his hands, not just one.
What? What? Alright, now I'm confused. What's going on?
It would appear there are going any further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not say. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yars.
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yes! I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Alright, let's do it! Alright, what the witnesses really saw.
There was blood on both hands of that assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself, no. Not until I heard the scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have shot him. Well, lo and behold, the truth is the fact. Not only one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying that we saw the man do it.
That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Alright, let's cross-examine these witnesses. Blood on both hands of the assailant. I'm sincerely seeking to remember that.
Hold it!
Hold it! No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record.
I'm aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and stand by it.
Man had blood on both of his hands. I can't get his voice down. I'm sorry. I'm going between both American, British, Australian. I can't get his voice down. He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. Why? Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired. If that matters, it does! Don't try to downplay this! Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as you well know.
But, for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could have possibly done it. I was just trying to save us all some time.
You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding of the defendant, do you not?
Huh.
Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty?
Well, that's not entirely, not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea, or 10, when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that's all. I was gonna win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, I'm for sure.
A little guinea or 10?
I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrowed a little spending money for the weekend.
I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir. This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work? I thought, like, if you have, like, if a witness comes up and they have a distinct hatred for the dude, the testimony is then considered biased and no longer, you know, relevant. I remember seeing the knife, and when I see both attacks with blood on them.
Hold it!
Hold it! You definitely saw that too. Blood on both hands. Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilda's gloves have any sign of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilda sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been so easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilda's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands? That is puzzling indeed. It must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard that scream.
Hold it!
Hold it!
You didn't see anything? Oh, yes, sir. That's to say, no, sir, I didn't. I'm very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. And it was wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir?
I know what you're insinuating. Surely I wasn't making up stories.
Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? Oh, please. You didn't even see that? It was so cold that night, you see. All I could do was keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was failing frozen, so sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights.
Beppo!
Ah! Anyway, the fact remains there can't be anyone else inside that carriage or we all would have seen.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight of the roof of the omnibus?
That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh yes, I remember. I was shivering. So bitter. We tried to fetch the question of why the pair of you were shading on the roof deck in the first place.
Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh, why not?
It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked?
That's right. It's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play.
Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the genocide just gestured at me to clear off. I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you I wasn't looking down. I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else in that cabin, I would have noticed.
Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? I'll have to take a look through the court record again. Let me see if they could. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure.
Yes, and there's a lamp on the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly.
That's not good for us. Let's see. Might not have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight on the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
My golly, really?
Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. That at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering.
My Nepalese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh.
Very well. I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area in the cross-sectional plane of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
Well, depending on where they were sitting, it has to be right here. Because if they were seated up here, all they could see was in here. Sitting right here.
Take that!
Both rows of seats of the floor of the roof face in the direction of the travel. Whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin with passengers at the roof that can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here.
Ah,
that's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite of the one in which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses could have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidden habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity.
what? I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger, to whom you allude. Can you, Mr. Naruhodo?
I honestly don't know. Who could have been? Who could have been in the other seat, with which out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? Let me check who I have in my court record. People. Who could have been it? Alright, so it can't be Sasato. Can't be Mr. Van Sykes. He was sitting next to him, the victim. He is the victim. He was driving the bus. You two were on top of the bus. The only person it could be was Mal Strongheart. I have really no clue. Is that supposed to be the answer? I have no clue. We haven't seen him yet. Let me just, I really don't want to screw myself over here. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. And I have an inkling. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. That is not delayed, Counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger on the other seat. Idiot sandwich! This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn this trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat of the omnibus obscured from view was McGilded. That's what it said.
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Magnus McGilded.
Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
Oh, he's upset. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Sykes!
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East of having a learning and culture of their own. But I see that they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless Blackwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to that fact. It's the very premise of which the case is built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency? What inconsistency, Counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, that's it. Yes, the testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they were clearly remembering seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on the passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary. Order! Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. Tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could only see the rest of them, though.
Yes, that's right. Both gentlemen most certainly had it. Hatters do tend to note such things, sir.
And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen see, Mr. Forrest?
I'm afraid I don't remember.
And you call yourself a hatter? Style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the facts. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah, but he said he was asleep. He sleeps on cabin rides, or on omnibus rides. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it.
Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. Uh-oh. If it indeed turns out that man has been withholding information, you can be sure it would have been a most deliberate act.
Counsel for the defense, what's your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify, or not? Hold up. I keep forgetting to pause the video. Alright, I'm sorry. I'm bad. I'm a bad YouTuber. I suck at this. I suck. Alright. Let's demand his testimony. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Oh, yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out of here. Get the man out here, I say. I know he was Irish before.
It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favourite little pork has to say? Oh yes, it would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be heard.
Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
Get wrecked, Van Zykes. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let's hope.
Let's proceed. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
I think sure, I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first, It's whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police? Egad, no. 'Tis not my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. I do tells you all, or keep me mouth shut.
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded.
The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage of the night with myself and another man, there was another passenger. Is it true? Aye, it was me who helped the little urchin get away after all had happened.
You...
What? He helped him get away?
No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zykes. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was... well, a little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not in any way involved, you see.
I'm wrong voice. What?
Police had known the wee one was there. They'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd be hauled her into her own...
Oh my god, I can't speak.
They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom, like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. And who is this young child with whom you speak? That, I don't know. You don't know? Aye, well, the wee tick just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
What?
Ah, smoke! Ah, fire! There's fire! Look, there's someone trying to get away.
It's no use. I can't see anything through all the smoke.
What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody. You clear the courtroom.
What the fuck? We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, from the time being at least, the trial was suspended.
What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
I'm really confused. I guess we'll stop it there? Okay. So, next time on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, we'll, probably resume trial. Maybe Magnus McGilded got away? Maybe? I have no idea. Alright, well, yeah, we'll see each other next time. Bye-bye.